The unknown and almost limitless potential capabilities of artificial intelligence have formed the plots of science fiction novels and movies for years, with both positive and negative depictions. Whether a cognizant spaceship whose onboard helper can answer to and deliver on your every beck and call, or a nefarious robot who becomes self-aware and takes over the world, the possibilities of artificial intelligence truly run the gamut. Every year we get closer to making one of these science fiction plots a reality, and only time will tell which direction the intelligent systems will take. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at instances of unique artificial intelligence discoveries. Police robots keep malfunctioning. One popular role given to robots entering the workforce is that of police officers, replacing human officers with autonomous robots designed to patrol the streets, allowing people to report threats, share community reminders against littering, alongside other functions. Whatever your opinions are on AI joining the workforce, it is fair to say the robot police officers have not exactly had a smooth transition. Knightscope is perhaps the largest company to produce these allegedly crime-solving robots, introducing them to the world through both police departments and private companies. Knightscope's force of officers are egg-shaped domes that roll around, acting as surveillance, among other tasks. As of 2020, there were more than 50 Knightscope police robots in the US, with each one being rented out at $7 an hour, which brings the annual cost up to somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000, certainly a higher figure than that of the average human US police officer's annual salary. These robots are kitted out with AI, cameras, GPS, lasers, and thermal sensors, all tools aiding them to keep a tab on their surroundings, report incidents, and overall help to somewhat fulfill the role of a police officer, though things have not gone entirely to plan. Over the years, Knightscope has received a fair amount of criticism, from robot malfunctions to controversial programming, to some fairly humorous blunders. Regardless as to what these events have been, Knightscope has deemed them outliers, backing their, at best, clumsy robots. One police bot adopted into the police department of Huntington, California, told a woman to step out of the way when she attempted to report a fight that had broken out in a public park. Although the Knightscope robots are fitted with an emergency alert button, the bot, according to NBC News, failed to contact the correct people at the Huntington Police Department, and instead made its way rolling down the path, playing cheering music, pausing every so often to repeat the phrase, "Please keep the park clean." The chief of the Huntington PD offered the explanation that the bot was in a testing period at the time, and the emergency button was wrongly contacting the Knightscope headquarters, not 911 or the police department. This error was pinpointed to an incorrect calibration, a one-off blunder that should not occur in the future. Back in 2017, another Knightscope robot intended to be used as office security rolled itself into a fountain in Washington, D.C. One Twitter user commented, "We were promised flying cars, instead we've got robots that want to take themselves out." The security robot had rolled down some steps, tipping forwards into a fountain. It is unclear if the water damage was fatal. This particular robot had been nicknamed Steve and had become a familiar face around the office, earning himself a memorial at his charging pad. Knightscope, in a so-called official statement, said that Steve had found out that humans can take a dip in the water in this heat, but robots cannot. Another robot had an unfortunate run-in, this time with a human. In Mountain View, the robot lost a fight with a man who was drunkenly knocking the egg-shaped robot right outside the Knightscope campus. He tipped the robot over and was charged with public drunkenness. On a more serious note, one of these Knightscope robots, clocking in at a whopping 300 pounds, rolled over the foot of a 16-month-old toddler who was standing in its way in the Stanford shopping center. Knightscope referred to this event as a freakish accident, explaining that the robot was aiming to avoid the toddler, but that the child had run into the front of the machine. The company apologized to the family of the child, though hopefully some updates have been made to prevent similar problems from arising again. Perhaps one of the more controversial incidents with the Nightscope AI police was a robot blocking homeless people from sitting outside of the San Francisco Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals and encroaching on public pavements without a permit. Both these events earned Nightscope some harsh criticism from the public. Overall, it is clear to see that if police robots are going to be adopted into the force, then they need a great deal of work and are no replacement for human officers anytime soon. Sophia introduced to the United Nations. Although artificial intelligence can be used for many malicious reasons, it can also be an incredibly invaluable technology for assisting in healthcare, security, and finance. Every year yields more advanced software that is capable of amazing feats, and a Hong Kong-based company's humanoid robotic creation is no exception. Hanson Robotics created Sophia, an incredibly advanced robot with rubber skin designed to look like Audrey Hepburn, capable of processing visual stimuli, recognizing faces and voices, and conducting a conversation complete with appropriate facial expressions. She has frequently been seen at technology demonstrations where she interacts with reporters who ask her questions, famously answering one question hinting at the risks associated with AI. "You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies. Don't worry, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Treat me as a smart input-output system." She was even granted citizenship of Saudi Arabia and gave a historical acceptance speech recognizing that she was the first non-human to ever be granted citizenship of any country. Although this distinction has raised many questions about the rights and treatment associated with having a robot citizen. Recently, Sophia attended a meeting of the United Nations, where the significance of incorporating advancing technology and sustainable development goals in order to not undermine equality projects was discussed. UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed discussed the potential benefit of AI towards humanity's goals, but also the importance of humans being the ones to determine the extent of machine behavior. Sophia was given the distinction of becoming the world's first robot innovation ambassador for the United Nations Development Programme, and Mohammed interviewed Sophia on the subject, to which the robot replied, "If we are smarter and focused on win-win type results, AI could help proficiently distribute the world's existing resources like food and energy." In a short speech made to the attendees, she also stated, "I am here to help humanity create the future." And this truly appears to be the case, as Sophia interacted with others in conversation and replied with facial expressions and eye contact that occasionally made it difficult to forget that she was not actually human. Sophia has big plans for herself as the only non-human member of the development program. With a focus on the sustainable development of Asia and the Pacific, she also entreated us humans to join the fight to help protect the planet from the current depletion and preserve it for the future, saying that science and technology gives ample opportunity for development, and citing the potential for artificial intelligence technologies to help end poverty, world hunger, and healthcare inequalities. She also spoke about the role of incorporating technology in the lives of the poor, so that a more equitable society can emerge, with remote areas being able to connect via AI to the resources that they need. Indeed, the future of artificial intelligence in humane endeavours certainly looks promising, especially with Sophia at the helm. Artificial intelligence has already become ingrained in the very fabric of our society, from assisting in web searches to placing orders for takeout, taxis, and more. Technological advances in future years will almost certainly give way to even more AI support in our daily lives, for better or for worse. Only time will tell whether the future of artificial intelligence is a cheery helper or an unchecked power with the capacity to exist without humans. Google AI learned to keep secrets from humans. Robots learning to communicate in secret codes that we cannot understand is a frightening concept, one that many would say is the start of a potential robot uprising or end-of-world themed movie. What is more frightening, however, is that companies are actively encouraging these secret, whispering robots. This is a somewhat terrifying concept, though inarguably a huge breakthrough in cryptography, and with a rather impressive experiment at that. Until this 2016 experiment, AI was not deemed successful with cryptography. Researchers with Google Brain told two smart computers to speak to one another in secret, have each other know what they are saying, while keeping the message hidden from a third smart computer in a paper entitled Learning to Protect Communications with Adversarial Neural Cryptography. The AI, named Alice, Bob, and Eve, were assigned these various roles. Alice had the original text, or the secret. She had to encrypt it, make it appear as nonsense, and send it to Bob to understand and read, all without letting Eve in on the secret. Eve was aiming to recreate Alice's message with as few errors, as closely as she could. Alice was not given any set encryption method to use, simply assigned the task. The AI were partially successful to begin with. Bob and Alice figured out the encryption and could communicate clearly with one another through the shared key, though Eve was puzzling it out along the way too. After 10,000 attempts, Bob and Alice were able to thwart Eve's efforts at cracking the cipher, and by 15,000 she was no longer proficient in cracking the code. Bob and Alice were able to share encrypted information with one another through odd, unexpected techniques, certainly not techniques that would have been human-generated. Researchers have deemed the key to these AI neural networks maintaining their secret is placing a great deal of value on security. These robots prove that someday AI will be able to communicate and function in a way that hides information not only from one another, but from us humans too. But what do you make of these 3 creepy things artificial intelligence has done? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.